this is as real as it gets.
This is Nash Gruner, the son of Olivia Gruner, and you are listening to the UCW radio show, In Your Face.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
You're listening to UCW Radio.
In Your Face.
Give it to me, baby.
All right, welcome to the UCW radio show, and we have another great guest lined up for today. He is, well, how can I say it? He's a former wrestling superstar, still a superstar. You can catch him on the WWE Network. He is the owner of CP Customs Motorcycles, and he's also the star of Lords of the Car Hordes. So I don't want to, really get into too much chitter-chatter because I really want to get him on the show. But I do want to remind all of our listeners to make sure you check out our other show, Money Never Sleeps, where we're talking about anything that impacts the flow of money anywhere in the world, from real estate, venture capital, technology, so on and so forth. And we have another couple of cool shows that'll be coming out. That we're going to make mention on as we move forward. You can go to ucwmagazine.com to check out more and keep up to date with everything. You can follow me on Twitter as well to get further updates. But with that said, without further ado, let's bring on the host of Lords of the Car Hordes, Chuck Palumbo. All right, Chuck, welcome to the UCW radio show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Louis. Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate you taking time to come on the show.
No, it's my pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah. What I want to do, for the benefit of our listeners, because, this is a show, we're going to be talking about your career, and I just want them to get a better feel for who you are, even though you've been around, for a little bit. You achieved your superstardom in the ring, and so I just want to kind of crank back to the beginning, where did you grow up, and how did you get involved in wrestling in the first place?
Yeah, well, I actually grew up back east in New England in a small town called West Warwick. It's a suburb of Providence, Rhode Island.
That's where the package stores are.
That's where the package stores are, yeah. Anyway, small town guy for the most part. I wanted to go out to California, so I joined the Navy when I was 19. And that got me out to California. And, wrestling didn't start. I went from the Navy to play basketball in college. I got a scholarship coming out of the Navy to play basketball. And then I left college early. I went to Central Missouri State University. I left early. I gave up my scholarship to go try out for the WCW Power Plant. Mm-hmm. And that was 98, and 97 or 98, and that was it. I never watched wrestling really in my life, except for the days of the Saturday mornings with Hogan and Sarge and those guys. But I was doing final exams during my my college run there, and I just happened to see Monday Nitro as I was flipping through the channels. And I believe it might have been Lodi or one of the guys who was with WCW at the time was holding up a sign in the audience, and it said, "You want to wrestle?" And it had the number to the WCW Power Plant. I didn't catch it that time. I didn't have time to write it down. I taped the show the following week. I wrote the number down, and I ended up calling the Power Plant, eventually getting through. And when I finished up school for the year, I went down there, tried out. I made it through the tryout. They invited me back to train for about 7 months, doing indie shows around the Atlanta area. And then they sent me over to New Japan to get a little more experience. Worked in New Japan for a little while, came back, and I got to deal with WCW.
Wow, that's a pretty cool story, because you didn't set out to be a wrestling star. You were just trying to enjoy life and grow as a person.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. I never felt I had achieved what I wanted to achieve in athletics, and I felt, hey, if I can make a living being an athlete for a while, why not? At the time, I had a 1-year-old baby girl. Mm-hmm. Money's tight, and I just busted my ass to break in and get a deal with WCW. Unfortunately, I did. And that was it.
Well, back then with the power plant, I know that a lot of guys were coming through there, and I think who were the trainers there? I forget who some of the trainers were. I know I think Orndorff was one of the trainers there. No.
Yeah, towards the end, Orndorff was a trainer. But in the early days of the power plant, we had Sarge, Buddy Lee Parker.
Right.
We had Jody Hamilton, the original.
Jody Hamilton. Yep.
So Jody was the main guy, and then later on, Jody went into a different part of the company, and Orndorff took over. But yeah, that's basically how it started. I knew nothing about wrestling. I didn't know how much of a work it was. I knew it was somewhat a work, but I didn't know how much, to what extent. I had never been smartened up. I didn't know anybody else in the business. I jumped in my truck with my girlfriend and my daughter, and we drove across country and showed up at the power plant.
Wow. And you know how the wrestling business is, man. You know, you're fortunate because if you don't know what's going on, you know, sometimes people befriend you and sometimes they do other things to you.
Yeah, well, you know, wrestling business, you know, you know yourself, Louis. The boys all know it. It's a tough business.
Yep.
You got to protect yourself. A lot of times the answers are not there. But, you know, being naive at the time, I think that had a lot to do with it. I was naive. I saw that ad for WCW. It said, come train at the power plant. In 6 months, you could possibly get a TV contract. I saw that, and I just said, I'm going to go for it. And that was it. I think I was better off that I didn't know anything about the business at the time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because I don't think it was being naive in life. It was just being naive to the business. So it actually allowed you to say, hey, you know what? That's an opportunity. I'm going to take it. And that's what you did.
Yeah, absolutely, because I got to be honest with you. If I was 25, 26 years old today and, you know, knowing what I know about the business now, I probably wouldn't go for it. I'm not negative about the business. I just know it's a very hard business to make it in.
It's a different lifestyle, man. It's a different lifestyle.
It is, and at this, you know, if knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't have went for it. I probably would have said, you know, I need to be a little more realistic. You know, maybe I'll stay in school, finish up my degree. You know, I wanted to go work in federal law enforcement. I think, you know, probably would have stuck with that. You know.
Yeah, you would have been part of the Secret Service probably protecting Obama today.
Maybe. But, you know, I'm glad that I was naive to the wrestling business because I feel like I lived a great life, and I've been around the world, met great people. It's a very interesting business. I've learned so much about life being in the business and, you know, continuing what I do now outside the business, just being an employee or independent contractor with Vince McMahon, I've learned about so much in business, you know.
And that's important, especially with what you're doing now. But you know, a lot of people outside of the wrestling world, they don't understand, you know, the trials and tribulations. They just see what they see on TV. You know, they don't understand what happens behind the scenes. That, you know, you're bouncing around. You're taking care of one, especially if you have a family. You're taking care of one household. Meanwhile, you have your traveling household, so expenses, you know, kind of go through the roof.
Yeah, definitely. It's a young man's game these days, and it's a single person's game these days. You know.
Yep.
Tough having a family, traveling the roads, doing all that stuff. You know.
Yep. That definitely is. You know, but you did it, and you have a legacy in wrestling because now with the WWE and what they've done with taking everybody over, they're making acquisitions all over the place, and they did all that stuff. You know, all that footage, all that the older footage, all that stuff is alive and well today, and that is a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know with the new coming here of the WWE Network, you know, people are watching, you know, matches that I was in, you know, in the late '90s and stuff, and it's kind of cool to hear about that, you know.
Yeah, well, you kind of
what's old is new again, you know.
Right, yeah, and you kind of, you know, revive fans because now you have fans that really get crazy. I mean, they get crazy with UFC, they get crazy with WWE, and they'll sit in front of the computer for 10 hours watching matches. You know,
right,
but
exactly.
but it's good because what it does, it brings back to life. You know, like I was in Ohio and I was talking to Bruno, and those matches, all that stuff comes back to life, and it gives them new life, and I think that's pretty cool.
It is. It is very cool.
Yeah. So now you were in WCW, you went to the WWE. You know, how long was your stint in the WWE?
Well, I had 2 runs over there. I went over there, I believe, was as soon as Vince acquired WCW, I went right over. And then I got released in, I believe, maybe 2004, late 2004, 2005. So my first stint over there was about 3 years, and then I went back again in 2006 for a couple more years.
And then that was about it for you, right?
That was about it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, when I went back that last time in 2006, I signed a 2-year deal. I know how the business works. I was just happy to get one more opportunity and, you know, sack some money away, you know. And I was able to promote my motorcycle business with the gimmick they let me do. I was able to promote what I was actually getting ready to transfer into. Right. So that was a big thing for me, is using the TV just to start my bike business off, you know.
Yeah, but you know, it's marketing. It's marketing, you know. And anyone that's listening to the show, you know, when you see the Rock come back, you know, when you see him come back, when you see Batista, when you see this one, that one that have been out of the business that actually come back, it's usually to market something. A movie, a show, or something, but that's okay because it puts them back in the light. You know, even when Jericho comes back, you know, he's off his tour, but he's promoting what he's doing. But it's all good stuff. You know, it's a platform.
It is, and that's you know, one thing. WWE is such a great platform. You know, it's a priceless platform. You got live TV in front of millions every week. There's no greater platform to market yourself or you know, try to push what you're trying to push, whether it's, you know, you got someone's working on a movie or someone's working on, like you said, Jericho with the band, or just something small like me working on my other show, or my bike business, or, you know, it helps.
Well, I wouldn't say someone small like you, because first of all, you're not a small dude. Second of all, you have a lot of things going on, man. You know, and in a little while, you know, after we take this quick break, we're going to talk about the Lord of the Car Hordes, because I think a lot of your fans are going to want to hear what you have to say about that. You know, I caught the first season of that, and it was just by chance that I was just changing the channels, and I saw it, and I said, oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, the show was fantastic because it wasn't, how can I put it? It's not just a show where, all right, we're gonna go do this, and this is the end result. We're gonna pimp your ride. You're actually helping people to get an end result with all the crap that they have in their yard. And meanwhile, there's some gold there that they don't even know about, or maybe they do. They just don't know what to do.
You know, that's why I love the concept so much. I mean, I love building cars and motorcycles and all that stuff. But that's been done a lot on TV. It's a fact, like you said, that we're helping people. Mm-hmm. That's so rewarding and so much fun, and that's why I enjoy it so much. And you're right. I think that's why the people enjoy it so much, because they like seeing people help people.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's a key thing. And before we go to our break, I have to ask the question, because I know all the wrestling fans are going to want to know. You know, what, and I know it's hard to say, and I hate asking this question, but I have to ask it. You know, what was one of your best, or I'm going to say most fulfilling matches that you've had?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. You know,
I know it's always a tough one because you don't want to insult anyone, but you know, I'm sure your fans want to hear this.
You know, one thing I thought was pretty cool, it always comes to my mind, is when Billy Gunn and myself wrestled tag team championship match against Hulk Hogan and Edge in Boston. You know, coming from Providence, Rhode Island, being a New England guy,
yep.
To be able to, you know, even be in the ring in a match against a guy like Hogan, who is, you know, such an icon in the business. That always sticks out in my mind, you know.
I mean, that's a highlight moment, man. That's I mean, how many people, you know, can say that? I one thing I can say is funny. Like, you know Lanny, right? You know, I mean, I speak to him, and he always points to this. He says one of his most memorable matches is when he was on the Saturday Night's Main Event and he wrestled Hogan.
Right.
You know, and it sticks in his head, and I'm like, you know, Lanny, you know, you're Lanny Poffo, your brother's, you know, Randy Macho Man, and that's your highlight match. You say, yeah, because the crowd, the energy, we're at the Garden, it was the highlight moment. And I said, I get it, and I understand it, you know, and that's what you had because you were home.
Yeah, I was home. It's Hulk Hogan. You know, people talk about these 5-star matches and big matches with all these false finishes and all this stuff, and, you know, great work and all this stuff. That's all fine and dandy, but we're talking about wrestling, you know, a legend, probably the biggest legend ever, or that ever will be in the business, you know. So that's big to me, you know.
Yeah, unless you drag Bruno in the ring, but he's still tough.
Yeah. Oh, that would be incredible. But
I mean, he shook my hand. I was like, Bruno, come on, take it easy. We're not in Pittsburgh. Relax. I love Bruno. He's a good guy. All right, but Chuck, what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna cut through the wrestling part of it, and we're gonna talk about your show and everything else that you have going on. So stay with us, and I want our listeners to stay with us. We're coming back with Chuck Palumbo, and we're gonna be talking about Lord of the Car Whores and a whole bunch of other stuff. Stay with us.
This is Chef Gavin Murphy with your 1-minute healthy cooking tip. For all my fellow fitness freaks out there, eating lean, high-protein meats like chicken, turkey, or even pork loin is part of our everyday diet. I get asked all the time, how do I make chicken breast juicy and not dry and overcooked? This is how. Season the breast with salt and pepper and sear in a drizzle of olive oil in a hot pan until golden on both sides. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees and place the breasts on a foiled oven tray. Pour 1 cup of chicken broth on the tray and pop it in the oven for 6 to 7 minutes. What's going to happen is the broth will create steam in the oven while the chicken is cooking and add moisture to the meat. And that's my secret. Also, very important, guys, once you take the chicken out of the oven, let it rest for 3 to 4 minutes, and this will also keep all the juices in the breast. For more tips and information on me, go to my site, gavinmurphy.com.
Thousands of years we circled around the sun.
right, welcome back to the UCW radio show, and we're here with Chuck Palumbo. We were talking about wrestling. We were talking about the iconic days, and now we're going to talk about, his motorcycle business and his show. Chuck, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back, man.
Yeah,
my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, we've been having some fun here, and now we're going to get to the nitty gritty because we want to go into what you're doing now. We talked about your Navy days, we talked about your wrestling days. You're not a dumb guy. You're a pretty intelligent guy, and it shows with what you have going on. Were you always a mechanic?
Yeah, actually, I just grew up with a wrench in my hand, pretty much. My dad was always a hands-on guy, and so I grew up in it. And then, my first job was in an auto body shop, a restoration shop, and that was about 14, 15. Rebuilt my first car by the time I was 16, so I had a car to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, even when I left to go in the service, I was an aviation mechanic / fabricator. So that's what I did in the service in the Navy. So
you can actually.
I've always been in it.
So you can actually build a ship.
That would be challenging, but I wouldn't be scared. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting. That's an episode idea.
There you go.
Throwing out ideas to the producers if you're listening. All right. Okay, so you went to the Navy, you did that, and you have to enjoy it. You have to love doing it.
Yeah, no, I love building cars, building motorcycles. There's to me, they've always been functional art. It's artwork. It's an extension of one's personality. But at the same time, this stuff works. They're machines.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that stuff, man. I never get bored with it. Right now the shop's slammed. We're doing 7 bikes right now, 1 car. I love it.
Well, you have to if you're doing it, of course, But I always feel that if you love what you do, it's not work. It's a passion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Completely correct.
Yeah.
Completely correct.
And and what you're a creative person, so it kind of allows you to express that creativity through machinery.
That's 100% right. I say that a lot. Yeah, it's a way to express myself creatively, and I love it. I enjoy it. The car show now is great because now I get to do it again. And at the same time, we help people. So now the world gets to see what I do, and I'm having a blast, man.
Yeah, and you had your first season of Lord of the Card Hordes. What was it? Earlier this year, right?
Yeah, April was the premiere for the Lords of the Car Hordes. It's been airing around the world in a different market every few weeks. So I know it just aired in Venezuela, I believe. It's all over the place, over 260 markets around the world, and the feedback's been fantastic, which I'm just, I feel blessed about that. Everywhere else in the world, they call it Extreme Car Hoarders. I think what it is it makes it easier for the translation in language. But, the States is called Lords of the Car Hordes. It's been a blast, man. And, like we spoke with before, I didn't realize this until we started doing the show because, I've been building bikes and cars for a long time. But when you're helping people with these hordes and you're kind of cleaning up their plays and getting their life on track, you're helping them with their life.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, man, and it's so rewarding,
And that's why I like the show. That's why when I personally saw it, I said, okay, what is this? And I saw your name. I said, all right, let me watch this because now I'm interested. And then as I was going, as it was going on, I said, you know what? This show is no joke. You're actually helping people, and you're showing people out there what you do. It's TV, so you got to have your comedy, you got to have all that other stuff, that drama involved, but you're showing people that, hey, we're there, we're providing a service. And you're actually, because, hoarding is a problem. They have TV shows about this. That people actually hoard stuff in their house and everything. And, you help people get through that because some people hoard for emotional reasons. I don't know. I've heard of that.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the things, with these hoarding shows. ours especially, we get to go in to the backstory on why this car hoarder is in this situation, why they're hoarding. So we kind of get to go into the backstory a little bit. We do the car build. We get their yard cleaned up. We get their life straight. You know, it's more than just building the cars. So that's what I like about it so much. People watch it and they tell me, hey, man, this is not really a car show. It is, but it isn't. And I said, exactly.
Yeah, and that
it's a feel good show.
There you go. And I was calling it Lord of the Car Hordes because I'm just talking to you, and you know I don't want Rick Dorr to get upset. All right, you got to take it easy. I'll use the word lords from now on.
Right.
Yeah, but it's just I have you on the show. I don't want people to think that I was didn't know the name of the show. I do. It's just that I have you on here. If Rick was on here, then I'd use the word lords, but I'll use the lords for the rest. So now when you started, one thing I noticed when you guys did the show and it premiered and it went through the season and the season ended, the one thing that I realized, and it was funny, how back to back to back to back all these other car shows started coming up, and I had mentioned it to you. I said, all these shows are coming up. It's like you guys sparked this. However, not one of those shows are about helping anybody. It's about showing how you build a car or a bike. It's not about helping anybody. You guys help people.
Correct. That's exactly correct, and that's why I love our show so much. Yeah, I may be biased, but at this point, most of the Discovery fans, the History Channel fans, you know, the guys, the car guys, the motorcycle guys, they've all seen a car being built many a times. You know, Chip Foose, he was one of the originals with that stuff. And we've all seen that now. So, you know, I didn't want to just do a car building or a motorcycle building show, you know, and I think it's interesting. I agree, man. I'm so glad that I was able to be a part of this, you know?
No, and it's pretty cool because I when I look at this show, and people are going to think I'm crazy, but you know, look, you got to kind of measure it up. I think you know, you look at like Extreme Makeover, all right, when they're making over these houses, and you know they're taking someone that needs help and they do something. You know, Extreme Weight Loss, that type of thing. You're helping someone. It's again, as you said, it's a feel good show. People are losing weight. They're bettering their lives. You know, and this is not a show, but this is an organization. You know, rebuilding together. They actually do the same type of thing out there, and you know, they do it on a massive scale all over the country. NFL players, WWE, all these people involved. They don't have a TV show. However, it's about doing good for other people. And when I look at your show, same premise. And once people get, once they start seeing it, and as it goes international, as you said, I see them adhering to it, saying, "Hey, you know what? Holy crap, you know, they helped this person, and now look at their yard. They can build a whole different house in that yard now."
Right.
You know, but it's like a mental cleanup, too, for these people.
It is, and I think that's a major part of it. You know, in the beginning, it's very hard to convince these people to give us their car, let us sell all their stuff off. I mean, they don't know us from anywhere. We have to gain their trust. And I think, you know, I was tailor-made for this because I love cars, I love motorcycles. I could find myself in that situation. So I try to put myself in their shoes when I speak with them, and I try to be considerate of their feelings and, you know, and get them to trust me because I honestly want to help them. Once you get their trust and they realize you're there to do good and help them, then it's all downhill from there, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, but if you think about it, you know, trust with anything, any relationship, with any situation, trust is the most important thing because once you have that trust, you know, it makes things easier to move forward.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
So you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about your body shop, your shop. You know, not your body shop, but your shop. I want to talk a little bit about that and all the fabrications that you've done. What are you working on now? And let's talk about that. Your shop.
That's a good question. Right now, car wise, I'm doing a 1970 Camaro Z28.
Wow. Nice.
Nice car, very original. So we're bringing that one completely back to original. So that's a fun one. Bike wise, I think we got like think we have 7 bike builds going now. Mostly choppers, couple bare bones choppers, 70s, late 60s retro type bikes, and then we got a couple real high end best of the modern world combined with the best of the old school look. We're doing a few of those. So slammed right now, man. There's not enough hours in the day. I get up early and I go to bed late. And I'm still trying to, keep myself in shape a little bit. So between that, having a family, juggling the business, I'm always busy, man.
No, I mean, look, as I said, any entrepreneur out there, they put their all into it, and you're no different. You love what you do. You're building something. You have your show, and one thing I'll say, that the lords, I said it right, the lords of the car hordes, there you go, Rick, gotcha. All right, so, I mean, the second season, I think it's going to be killer. I believe that it's going to, I see this show having legs, and I do see a lot coming out of it, because you have so many different shows out there, and you have reality show stars that pop out and like, hey, make me into a star, but, I mean, when people are doing good out there, these are the people that I support, because I believe that the more good you do out there, the more you pay it forward, the more people are going to see it, and hopefully they start doing the same thing, and you start a trend.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And like I said before, that's why I like this show so much.
Mm-hmm.
If it was just doing this regular car build show with a bunch of BS drama, I'm not sure if I would have did it, but this was a great opportunity, and I'm going to take it and run with it. I expect big things in the future, only because, we really haven't even scratched the surface on what we can do with the show. We've had 6 episodes so far. We're barely off and running, so I see big things in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I see big things, and that's me on the outside looking in. I see all these shows, and some are just like ridiculous, and then you have the ones that actually help people. And when those shows, I love them because you see the end result is like, okay, the reveal, and boom, and you see the smile on their face. I mean, some people, they cry. You got to get people crying on your show. So we got to work on that. And and then you get the emotion involved. So it's cool stuff. Now, before we go in and start giving information on your shop and website information and social media information for the show, I think that this is important. At least to me, it's important. I like, if you don't mind, if we can take a minute and talk about your brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's important because you have a lot of vets out there, and you're a vet yourself. And your brother, from what I understand, is a war hero.
Yeah, I'm very proud to say it. He probably doesn't like me to say it. He gets embarrassed, but
he's gonna get embarrassed now. So there you go.
Yeah, he's still in the Army. He's an officer. He's a pilot. At the time, he was flying Blackhawks, which is a helicopter, and saved a handful of men in Afghanistan. Sacrificed himself, and was fortunate enough to come out of it. His helicopter took 59 bullets.
Wow.
But he made it out of there on one engine and saved a handful of men, and super proud of him. He got the Silver Star, and he's still in it. And he's a career guy. Him and I were actually in the Navy together. When I went off to college after the Navy, he went to the warrant officer program for the Army to become a helicopter pilot. But now he's a commissioned officer, and the kid's just he's 2 years younger than me, and he's just like, I can't be more proud of him, He's an animal.
Well, you know what? His name's Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris Palumbo.
Yeah, Chris, glass is up to you, my man, because, and I want to thank you for what you're doing out there. And, these are the real heroes out there that people should actually look up to. You know,
absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
you know, be safe out there, Chris, and hopefully you'll be done with your stint, and then you can retire down in North Carolina like all the other vets.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, that'd be good. All right, so Chuck, you know, let's give some website information and social media information so that the listeners, if they want to find out more about you and follow you and everything else, you know, they can do so.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I appreciate that. My website is cpcustoms.com. Customs being spelled with a K, so it's CPK. cpcustoms.com. From there, I link on to Twitter is Chuck Palumbo. My Instagram is Chuck Palumbo, and my Facebook is Chuck Palumbo fan page. So it's not hard to find me, and if you go to my website, cpcustoms.com, I have links to all my social media, and I appreciate you guys checking out what I'm doing, and it's nice to know that people are interested in what I'm doing. I enjoy that. So.
Chuck, I think this is only you're only scratching the surface here, and I say that wholeheartedly because I see where the show's going. I see where you're going, and you're doing some good out there. Keep up the great work. You got my support, and I do urge all our listeners out there, you know, check out Lords of the Car Hordes on Discovery Channel. Go to cpcustoms.com. Check out what Chuck's doing. See what's going on out there because, you know, look, even Mark Henry wants a bike made by Chuck. Who doesn't want a bike made by Chuck? You kidding me? You know, Big Mark Henry, he almost squashed my head when I saw him last. But, you know, but he even wants something. So, you know, yeah, check it out because you know what? You have a handful of really, really, really talented people out there with bike builds and car builds, and Chuck Palumbo is one of them. Chuck, thank you for coming on the show, and you know we're going to have you on again to follow up because I know when your next season comes around, it's going to be crazy, and your popularity is going to go through the roof, my man.
Well, Louis, listen, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate all the support, man.
You got it, brother. You got it, brother. All right, so anyway, so listeners, you know, again, you know, CP Customs, check it out, and join us for the next episode of the UCW Radio Show.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.